Hi, everybody. Hi. I'm so glad to see so many people out here today to uh, to talk about Lester. Lester was my cousin, and I love Lester. When he died, we all pretty upset over it, but life goes on. Whenever Lester would come to our family reunion, he always had a lot to say. He always put me in the corner and said, "Do this, Belva, do that," and I'm doing it. So I'm glad to represent Lester right now. So I'm going to ask, what's your name now?
My name is Zoe Theologu.
And
I'm Andrew Depot.
are you going to read it too, sir?
Yeah,
What we do one?
we're going to be interviewing you today and basically.
Oh, you're going to interview me?
Yeah,
Wow.
just ask you some questions about your life and
About my life?
the person you are today.
Oh.
So,
Okay, what do you want to do first, huh?
I'm going to state the date and location of the interview. So today's, I believe it's April 22nd,
Mm-hmm.
and we're in Frederick County,
Right.
Frederick Community College, and just want to thank you for coming here.
Well, I
today.
thank you all for inviting me. I get to get out.
We really appreciate it. So we have like sections we want to start off with. We're basically just gonna ask you questions about your life, and then Lester, we'll get into.
Okay, I don't like to, okay, well, I'll do my best.
Yeah.
I do my
No,
best.
anything you can tell us, we're grateful for.
Mhm.
So.
And in the meanwhile, if anybody wants to come and look at some of the magazines, he has so many clippings, I didn't get a chance to cut them out. But I'm gonna do it next time. But I used to listen to Lester on the radio, and he was good. Thank you, appreciate that. All right, you can go ahead.
Okay. So, where were you born?
Here in Frederick, Maryland, Bartonsville.
Bartonsville.
Yeah.
And who were your parents?
My parents was Edna Diggs and Leonard Diggs. My mom worked 30 years in the sewing factory, and then 20 more years out to Fort Detrick. She was a worker, hard worker. You couldn't get her to stop working at all.
And you said you lived in Bartonsville growing up?
Yeah, well, mostly Bartonsville, and then we lived down in Jug Bridge. Y'all know where Jug Bridge is. Was a little old house down there, and we lived there, and we would drink well water and everything. My grandfather's name was Walter. That was Lester's brother here, right here, and we all lived down there, and we had a good time.
So you lived close with family?
Oh yeah, we're close. Last year, we celebrate our 60th anniversary of the Bowie and Thomas, and we had a great time. We put it put it in the newspaper and everything. Everybody came out. And 60 years. Can you imagine being together for 60 years?
Sounds like.
But we did that every year. And one year, Lester spoke at the D&D. Y'all remember D&D? I don't think they're here anymore. I think they're gone. They're gone. Well, we have a thing on for the family reunion. On Friday nights, we have dinner, and Saturday morning we had church, and then we had picnic. We kept this going on for years, so it was the same thing. So, and Lester would come all the way down, and the family would come down to the picnic each year.
That sounds great. So you mentioned that. So would you say that your community was like your family, or?
Yeah, we all close. The Bowies are close. We're very close people. We have a church called St. James Amy Church in Bartonsville.
And what was like in Bartonsville growing up?
It was good. I remember my Uncle Roy would make 2 trips, so make sure that maybe 2 trips, or I have a whole kids in the car, and just so we can have Sunday school. So he would go, while he go and get one set of kids, we were all over Bartonsville, down at the graveyard and everything. We had a good time,
Yeah. So what would you say the racial climate was like growing up in Bartonsville? Like, do you understand what I'm saying?
like black and white.
Yeah, like ratio-wise.
Oh, my grandmother lived on Jug Bridge, and he was white people across the street, so we got along all right.
And so I just have a couple questions about your education. So I guess for the first question, so how did you enjoy school? Did you enjoy school?
Oh yeah, I enjoyed school. I had to spend my last year at Frederick High, and a lot of kids didn't make it through, but by my mom being the way she is, I had to go.
And I did want to ask about that transition to going to a white school. Was like, how was the shock?
Oh yes, I had to take you one day and tell you all about it, but it was something.
Mm-hmm.
You lived it. I couldn't imagine we had a teacher named Mr. Roach. I said, Mr. Roach. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Mr. Roach. I'm sorry, I hope you don't hear this.
It's okay. So how would you say it was different than going to school?
It was different. I felt like I was looked at all the time, and I did my best. And I learned something a lot. Like in the black school, it was one of those things, and they didn't have it in the black school. And I said, this is very interesting. His name was Mr. Neff. Well, I went to Frederick High School. Anybody went to Frederick High? Mr. Neff. And I thought things that were taught was very interesting. We didn't have that in Lincoln School. So
you went to Lincoln before Frederick?
yeah, I spent my last year at Lincoln. Then I had to go to Frederick High to graduate.
And do you remember the year that was in?
It was 63. I graduated in 63.
And so I guess what were your favorite classes as you were going to school? Like I'm guessing history was a big part of it.
I like history and I like English. I like that. Just imagine how you can take a sentence and do this and do that, and it's very amazing. And Mr. Neff, I couldn't remember what he did, but I like Mr. Neff. He'll come to me later on.
And so what was the general community like at both of those schools? Like how were your relationships with like your peers and your teachers?
The teachers were very nice. And one time a day we couldn't go through Baker's Park, but that's the way I went to Baker's Park to go to Frederick High School. We couldn't go one time a day. Things were back there, Couldn't you imagine? I had to go to school, so I had to come to Baker's Park to get there, but isn't that something?
And so was the change of going to the white school, like, I guess, was it, sorry, I sort of lost.
No, you're fine. You mentioned Baker's Park. You said you couldn't go through it.
One time a day.
So I'm just wondering why.
Back, it was, it had certain things back in those days. I need to get back into the history, but there's a lot of stuff went on in Frederick County.
Okay.
And, it's sad, but, we got over it. I can talk all day about history. I like history, but things happen.
Well, Lord Dickens told that story to my class a couple of decades ago. I
Mhm.
understand you were
Yeah, I guess
using his tributes.
Yeah, and you know what? I got all his pictures. His wife gave me those pictures. I made a video. If you ever go on YouTube, and look me up with Mr. Stillwell, because we did it, and it took 17 years to put it on YouTube. I'm sorry. It cost money. I didn't have it. I videoed it, and I didn't realize time went by so fast. I thought it needed to be done. I said, this man, I had to carry a gun. Had to carry a gun, so.
So other than school, did you do any extra activities at school or?
No, I have plenty of jobs. I think I worked every job in Frederick. Nurse's aide, and I did this and did that. And I worked at National Geographic for 20 years. So I kind of like it there. It was very interesting.
And how would you say those experiences were for you?
Doing National Geographic?
Just job working.
Oh yeah, it wasn't easy. It was some disappointing thing. One time I called this place for my daughters to go to this daycare center. And I went out there and they said, I said, I'm Belva King. I want to put my daughter in daycare center.
Yeah.
And they thought I was white. I said, I'm black. I didn't know on the phone. They thought I was white. They wouldn't take me either. They would not take me because I said, well, no, I'm Belva King.
Yeah.
So it was kind of hard. Some things were hard, but we got over it.
Yeah. That must have been extremely frustrating.
Yes. Couldn't put your child in the daycare center. And I said, well, I'm Belva King.
Yeah.
So a lot of things went on.
So I kind of want to talk about how, like, where did you go to school after Frederick High School?
That was the end of it. I spent my last year there.
Okay.
I did some college work. I went to college and school, and it was good to learn to type and everything.
So where did you go to college?
Where was it? It's been so long. It was what college was at. It was like a classroom, just like right here.
Yeah.
Like we learn how to do typing and everything, and credit,
Do you think that helped you in the career field?
Yeah, National Geographic. But when I worked there for 20 years, so.
So do you think you spent most of your career at National Geographic, or did you spend most of your career at National Geographic?
Mm-hmm. I enjoy it because you was constantly learning. We went to microfiche, and then we went into the computer. But can you imagine looking up accounts on the microfiche? But we did it, and then here comes the computer.
So were you a historian at National Geographic?
No, I didn't think about that then. I was just there just to make it.
Okay.
I love kids. I used to be a foster mom. I had so many kids. And I adopted 2 of them. So I love kids.
That's great. How many kids do you think you fostered?
Oh, I had a lot of them.
Like,
I have quite a few of them.
do you still keep in contact with any of them?
I changed my number. I had to keep my number down. So when they do call, the first thing is, guess what, Mom? I got a baby. You do. You got to take care of that baby.
So did you go into National Geographic after those classes at the college, or?
Yeah, then I went to National Geographic.
And what made you get into being a historian?
I just thought it needs to be done. I looked at Frederick and I said, Frederick is growing so fast. We need to do our part. I used to talk to Mrs. Snowden. She's another historian. I talked to her all the time. And I just kind of, well, somebody got to do it. I said, why don't you do it, Belva? And I did a newsletter for 13 years because I think it needed to be done. And I said, what a good way of doing it. Get the article and have it print out and it's already printed out. So anybody wanting my newsletters, I got some here. But we need to come out more for our children's sake. And I said, well, if they don't do it, I do it. I just thought it needs to be done.
And there's so many groups, like historic groups in Frederick, so how is it working with them?
I just take one day at a time.
I get that.
I'm 78 years old. You just go along with the flow. Just one day at a time. Well, I like you guys. Y'all want to come to my house because I haven't talked this much since I don't know when. I'm enjoying myself. Oh, excuse me.
That's great. So how did you get to where you are currently? So, with the publishing?
Like I said, I thought it needed to be done.
Yeah.
It needed to be done. We need to stand out. And since I worked at National Geographic, it was nothing to it for me to go and find articles and then get other people. I like to talk to people. And I just thought,
So you mentioned you like to talk and reach out. How was reaching out in the community to gather that information like?
I had a Wallace museum for 2 years at Cafe 611, and I just thought it needs to be done. People came to my Wallace museum. That's why right now I go in my room now. I got all this stuff, But I kind of thought it needs to be done. It needs to be done. Somebody has to do it.
What would you, so I do admire that, because I also think it needs to be said and
Hmm.
seen, because you never know until you see it with your own eyes.
Hmm.
What were your favorite things about your career, either at National Geographic or?
Oh, I just getting up and waking up each morning, that's a blessing. A lot of people, seeing a lot of my friends are dead and gone, and I'm still here. It's a blessing. God kept me this long, and I'm here for a reason. So I make the best of it.
Yeah. Are there any things that you'd say you didn't really like doing, like, that you kind of shied away from during your career?
No, I just like what I was doing.
Yeah, that's great. It's better than not liking it. So. Okay. So, now I kind of want to go back to Lester. Do you want me?
Can you just read it? Just from it's just
Yeah, I can read it
most
now.
yeah.
So I'm just going to read the Wikipedia.
I think you were here on the video. And overseas, he had like 49 gigs. He did all of them that when he was over there, all but one. Can you imagine playing in a foreign country? But you'll hear it on the video.
And at the end of this section, we could play the video, or at the
Sure.
end, or?
Yeah. Now I want you to remember. This one was 1985. It was taken out to D&D. We got together. We get together it may not be clear. Is that a thing you put your video on?
Yeah.
Is that it?
I think so. That's the projector. You just put the disc in.
Oh, you got to show me how. I would have to work it.
So you said Lester was your cousin.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just gonna.
Yeah, and can I show you all something?
Yeah, definitely.
Sure. This is I was so tickled. This is his mom. We were all at the church, and she wanted to get a museum going. I was so tickled. She's a beautiful lady, but they travel overseas a lot. This is Lester's father, and this is his mother, and this is her people. And his is his. This is Lester's father, and they made them play horn. Made the children play some kind of instrument, and that's why they did what they did. And this is my daughter down here. This is Lester up here. This is one of the group that he played with. And Byron, he's a middle child, and there is Joe. He's over in the Netherlands. So if you all want to look at the different books, you're more likely to look at them. And if y'all want to look at my newspaper, y'all can have some of these if you want. But these are my newspapers. So,
Okay, so I can read Lester Bowie's Wikipedia right here. So, according to this page, he was an American jazz trumpet player and composer. He was a member of the Association for the Advancement of Creative Musicians and co-founded the Art Ensemble of Chicago. And so, he was born in the historic village of Bartonsville in Frederick County, Maryland. Bowie grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. At the age of 5, he started studying the trumpet with his father, a professional musician. He played with blues musicians such as Little Milton and Albert King, and rhythm and blues stars such as Solomon Burke, Joe Tex, and Rufus Thomas. In 1965, he became Fontella Bass's musical director and husband. He was a co-founder of Black Artists Group in St. Louis. In 1966, he moved to Chicago, where he worked as a studio musician and met Newhall Richard Abrams and Roscoe Mitchell, and became a member of the AACM. In 1968, he founded the Art Ensemble of Chicago with Mitchell, Joseph Jarman, and Malachi Favors. He remained a member of this group for the rest of his life, and was also a member of Jack DeJohnette's New Directions Quartet. He lived and worked in Jamaica and Africa, and played and recorded with Fela Kuti. Bowie's onstage appearance in a white lab coat with his goatee waxed into 2 points. He was an important part of the art ensemble stage show. In 1984, he formed Lester Bowie's Brass Fantasy, a brass nunette in which Bowie demonstrated jazz's links to other forms of popular music, a decidedly more populist approach than that of the art ensemble. With this group, he recorded songs previously associated with Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, and Marilyn Manson, along with other material. His New York organ ensemble featured James Carter and Amina Claudine Myers. In the mid-1980s, he was also part of the jazz supergroup, The Leaders, featuring tenor saxophonist Chico Freeman, alto saxophonist Arthur Blythe, drummer Famado Don Moy, pianist Kirk Lightsey, and bassist Cecil McBee. At this time, he was also playing the opening theme for music for The Cosby Show. Although seen as part of the avant-garde, Bowie embraced techniques from the whole history of jazz trumpet, filling his music with humorous smears, blats, growls, half-valve effects, and so on. His affinity for reggae and ska, exemplified by his composition Ska Reggae Hip Hop, which he performed with the Scatolites on their 1994 Hip Hop Ska, and also with James Carter on Conversing with the Elders. He appeared on the 1994 Red Hot Organization's compilation album, Stolen Movements, Red Hot Plus Cool, the album to raise awareness and funds in support of the AIDS epidemic in relation to the African American community, was heralded as Album of the Year by Time. In 1993, he played on the David Bowie album Black Tie, White Noise, including the song Looking for Lester, which was named after him, even though they were not related.
We weren't related.
Yeah.
That's a lot of boys.
And Bowie took an adventurous and humorous approach to music and criticized Wynton Marsalis for his conservative approach to jazz tradition.
Yeah.
Lester Bowie unfortunately died of liver cancer in 1999 at his Fort Greene, Brooklyn, New York house he shared with his second wife, Deborah, for 20 years. The following year, he was inducted into the Downbeat Jazz Hall of Fame